guys, welcome to my channel, Rhema Voyages. This is my first video that I have made for the Disney College program. This video is about my process when I went through applying for the DCP, how I found out about it a little bit, and tips and tricks for helping you. I'm gonna start with the way I found out about it, but I just thought about how I am still in my work clothes because I got home and got a ticket on the way. So I am going to snap out of this. That didn't work. Let's try that again. Okay, so I just want to mention this is my favorite hoodie ever. It's from 10 Tree, and they are an awesome organization because they plant 10 trees for every item of clothing that they sell. Not a plug, I just love the company. So how I found out about the program, my family had planned a trip to Disney World for the second or third time as I was a junior in high school, and while I was there I met a college program worker named Trent? Yes, Trent. And he was awesome. Shout out to Trent. He was around the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and I had been resistant to go watch the show because I wanted to ride the ride. And he showed up and started talking to me, and I mean, I had a little crush on him, so it kind of added. But I talked to him a lot, and he explained to me kind of what he did. He applied for the program, didn't tell his parents, flew out there after he got accepted, and I thought it was really cool, so that inspired me. He was a custodial worker, and that kind of created that as a dream role as well. So yeah, from there I decided that I wanted to apply to the Disney College program as soon as I possibly could after getting into college. So I waited a couple years and I applied and got in first try, and I was accepted for Spring Advantage 2019. So I wanted to talk about how I went through the process of applying, the WBI, and the phone interview. The first step of that process was the application. You go online and you basically fill out general information about yourself, like your past work history, your age, your college, things like that. And so I'm actually going to pull up my history of what I put and kind of talk about what made that stand out, because those things are really important when you're trying to go from application to the WBI. Most people know that the program is relatively competitive. 23 to 27% as far as the numbers that I've seen have been shown to be accepted every semester, so you want to kind of try to make yourself stand out as much as possible. I've got my application pulled up, and part of my work experience history is that I have been an operations manager, cabinet technician, and I have worked inside of retail. A lot of what I talked about within that was like customer service, how I made customers feel like I cared about them. In my operations manager one, I made sure to mention how the workers need to be cared for, not just the customers, because everyone is important in that whole equation. In my cabinet thing, I just wanted to mention how I was concerned about making sure that the customer had a perfect job done, that I wanted to get customer satisfaction. Beyond that, I had also mentioned that communication is a big deal in all the job roles that I had, so those are kind of things that made me stand out. The Disney website also has like keywords that you can put into it. I'm not sure exactly where you find those. I didn't look those up personally, so they didn't affect me that much. Okay, so also in the application process, you have various roles that you can express interest in: custodial, lifeguard, quick service food and beverage, character performer, different things. I had expressed interest in quite a bit of roles because I kind of wanted to get in there first try no matter what, but I definitely did not express interest in any roles that I was for sure not wanting to do. If you do not have any interest in a role at all, don't put that you have low interest. I know you've probably seen other videos, heard this 1,000 times, but no matter what role you express interest in, even if it's low interest, you are definitely considered for every single one of them, and they may or may not take that into consideration, how much you're interested in it. With the way I did it, I think that I was just open-minded enough, but knew myself enough to know what not to put interest in, so that's a pretty important part, because you're not going to want to go there doing a job that you think you'll hate. Even if that means you don't get accepted first try, that'll be worth the wait. It's a 4 to 6 month program, so. Moving on, the next step is the WBI. They had about 3 different sections of the WBI, if I'm remembering that right. And it took me about 45 minutes or less to get through it. You basically go through a personality test type deal where you've got options to answer questions like, I'm a very outgoing person, on a scale of strongly disagree to strongly agree. And the key in this step is definitely answering strong answers. I think I only put neutral twice in the whole thing. And if you have neutral answers for pretty much everything, you're not going to get accepted. So the best tip for passing through the WBI is to make sure that you answer on either end of the scale. As soon as you finish the WBI, you get a moving on step or a no thank you. So once you have gotten through that, you can schedule your phone interview. It's usually like a couple days later, maybe a week later that you schedule it, depending on when you want to schedule it, when you have time. And they say to block out an hour of time because you could receive the call 15 minutes before your scheduled interview or 15 minutes after your scheduled interview, and your interview can last about 30 minutes or more. I've heard of 45 minutes. Some people think that the longer your phone interview goes, the better chances that you are getting in. It's not necessarily true. There are a lot of people that have shorter phone interviews, even like 14 minutes, and they get accepted. So it really varies based on what Disney's needing at the time, and that's not really something to be worried about if you're worried that your phone interview didn't go too long. Moving on to the phone interview, the actual phone interview. So the phone interview is a 3-step process. In the first part of the phone interview, they're gonna ask you different questions, lots of various different questions about things that you've experienced in your past work time. A big one is you're going to probably be asked about safety and how you can upkeep safety, how you've upkept safety in your job, a difficult situation when you were at work and how you solved it, and a couple other ones. They're all online, so definitely go check them out, but those are ones that I found to be especially useful. The second part of the phone interview is where you talk about all the roles that you expressed interest in. I wrote down what roles I had expressed interest in and what kind of things that they do, so that if they mentioned that to me and I was just like quickly forgot, I would look at my paper and read a short description of what the job is and talk about why I could do it well. That I found to be really helpful. So you're going to want to have that list with you of the roles that you expressed interest in, and make sure that you know what each role is really all about, so that when they ask you why you think you would be good for those roles, you're gonna have a good response for them and tell them why you're qualified. Also, when you're expressing interest in these roles, if you put character performer, you're gonna need to know about the dates for the character performer audition. I expressed interest in that, so the lady that I talked to had told me about how there was one down in Dallas because I was in Tulsa area, so I had the opportunity to drive down there and do that, but I will talk about that in a different video. And the third part is any questions that you have for them. A lot of people ask them about their Disney journey. Some people say that that's too typical. I actually did it because I was genuinely interested, but a lot of people think that's just too general and they hear it all the time, but honestly, I think that they hear everything all the time, so it's not gonna faze them. But it's up to you. You can find a more original question, whatever you want. Whatever questions you actually have, make sure that you get them answered at that time, because that shows that you're really fully expressing interest and that you're not just wishy-washy about your application. Another thing is that you can input where you would like to work and what role you would especially like to do. Be like, pretty please. And sometimes they will take that into consideration, but none of that is guaranteed. It just might help if you do that. That is the whole process, and that's how you're gonna get in first try. I hope these tips and tricks helped you. If they did, please leave them down in the comments. Tell me if you got accepted, if you're going into the next season, applying in January or February-ish when they drop the fall applications. So comment any questions that you have. If you want to see more of these videos, I have a lot more coming. So if you like this video, join the tribe, please subscribe. I I don't actually know anything about sign language, but I do happen to know that this is R and this is V, so I'll see you next time on Rhema Voyages.